Okay, I am back. It's your favorite brawlhalla brown boy, and today I'm going to be talking about what makes a character good, right? We're going to hop into some experimental, but this video is more going to be talking about why characters are good and how in any meta it's easy to figure out what characters will be good, right? Some characters will never be bad, some characters will be good. Or some characters will change between being the worst and the best, right? It all depends. One little buff, one little nerf can really tip someone over the edge. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is consistency. Now, this is a very overlooked stat in Brawl. It's how consistent a character is, right? This is something which really isn't talked about much, but some weapons are a lot more consistent than others between metas, just in general, building up damage, killing, right? One of these really consistent weapons is sword, right? If your character has sword, they're most likely never going to be that bad, right? With a few exceptions, some sword characters aren't the greatest, but most sword characters are pretty good all the time, okay? And that is because sword is never really bad, okay? Sword is always good, good at everything, good at killing, good at damage, good at strings, good at combos, good range. It's good at everything, right? So if you have a consistent weapon, other weapons like this are orb, right? Orb is really consistent. Hammer is a very, very, very consistent weapon, right? Okay. And these things help, right? Because if you're playing every game on a weapon like Scythe, which I would call the most inconsistent weapon, right? Either you're a god on Scythe landing the strings, all the strings, or, you're not really landing anything. And so one game you can absolutely destroy someone, and the next game you can play the same guy. They change up their dodge pattern, change up their reads, and that's it. You've messed it up. You're done. So consistency is one of the most underrated things. So if you have consistent weapons, you'll know what's consistent, what has good combos, what can kill, right? Often, like, not heavy or light weapons, like medium weapons are quite consistent. Any weapon with kill confirms, I would call consistent. But yeah. And then here comes the big thing, right? Synergy. So synergy between weapons makes a character good. Now, I'll give you an example of really poor synergy. Caspin, right? Katars and Gaunts do very similar things. I'm actually making a video about Katars versus Gaunts, the differences, which you should pick, blah, blah, blah. But they do very similar things. Everyone knows this. Close range string weapons do very similar things, okay? And he has both. So he's not a good character, even though I think he has some of the best SIGs in the game, really solid stats. He's not the best character. Versus a character with, like, godly synergy, someone like Ragnar, okay? Katar's amazing at building up damage, but they're not so good at killing. But Axe, amazing at killing, right? It's really big, amazing at countering weapons that Katars are bad against, right? And this leads to good synergy. And what good synergy does is it means that you have a game plan, right? On Caspian, you don't really have a game plan. We're going to get into some more right now. I'm really enjoying this. You don't really have a game plan, right? So you can pick either weapon to start with, either weapon to finish with. It doesn't really matter, right? But on a character like Ragnar, what makes Ragnar a solid character is you open with Katars, build up your damage, get them orange to red, switch to Axe, kill, rinse and repeat. And it means it gives you some familiar, it gives you some consistency between stocks, and you get to learn both the weapons at different points, right? I bet you'll get really good at killing on Axe, and you'll get really good at building up damage on Katars, and then you can use those two things, right? And a good player will be good at killing on every weapon, but it's just a lot easier with some weapons, right? When you have a true combo, it becomes a lot easier. Oh, almost got him there. But other than weapon synergy, SIGs, right? SIG synergy is what makes a character, like, really good. You'll notice all the characters with a really good, sorry, one of my keycaps fell off. You'll notice a character with really amazing synergy, SIG synergy is always going to be good, right? And what I mean by that is when your SIGs flow into your light attacks, you're going to be good. Like right here, I can do like an N light, okay? And then I can N SIG, and it will hit them if they don't dodge, and it will catch this dodge and this dodge. An example of a character with really good SIG but bad weapon SIG synergy is Kaya's bow. I always like to use this because on Kaya's bow, all her SIGs, right? Okay, her N SIG is an amazing SIG. Comes out fast, kills early, really quick, moving, like, hurt box, big hit box. Everything's good. But you can't do D light into it. You can't do D light into N SIG, and then on 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 bow, again, side sig, like side sig doesn't work, it's jumpable. And then with D-Sig, you can't do anything from D-Sig, right? Like into D-Sig. And those three SIGs are all, I would call them extremely strong, but the synergy with the weapon doesn't work. If they were on a different weapon, it would be quite cool. Because things like this, right? I can do a D-Light, and then I can N-Sig on Reyna. And it might not be true. It's not about having true combos. It's about them kind of flowing into each other and having a use. Oh, that was meant to be D-Light there. Messed that up. It's about them having a use. Same with this, right? So I have no anti-air, right? But then my N-Sig is a quick anti-air on blasters. So they flow into each other, and that's really important. And other than that, things that matter, stats matter, but not that much. Again, more to do with your weapons you have. It's about everything you have coming together really well. And I can explain that with something like a Mordex N-Sig on Scythe. Might not be the fastest sig or the earliest killing, but it's really good because N-Light, Side Light, and D-Light all go into the sig. And it has and it's just a good anti-air on a weapon which might not have the most solid of anti-airs, right? And that all really works. Same with Cassidy, Hammer, N-Sig. All these sigs you'll notice, and all these characters I'm talking about are really good all the time. Cassidy, Hammer, N-Sig, right? Other than it being a god tier sig with speed and killing power and true combos, Hammer on the ground has nothing that even resembles an anti-air. And have that really quick N-Sig to catch people trying to approach you from the air is really, really solid for Hammer's kit. But I think the main thing, honestly, that makes a character always good is the weapon synergy and sig synergy, right? If your sigs work with your weapons and your weapons work together, you get a character kind of like one of the best examples is even Reyna, right? Blasters are really good at long range, building up damage and killing, right? And then Orb can deal with the weapons that Blasters really struggles against, right? Like Katars. Orb deals with Katars quite well. And it means that you kind of eliminate your weaknesses, because we can go through the cast here. Core is a really good character, heavy weapon, light weapon. Valve's weapons work because they both do similar things, but in different ways. They both string, but Sword is a bit more consistent, and Gaunts can rack up the damage like way quicker. And then you got weird characters with weird synergies and combos, which are really good. Like Sentinel, it's not really weird, it's very traditional. Heavy weapon, light weapon. Build up the damage with Katars, finish with Hammer. Mordex, 2-string weapons, right? But his SIGs work well with his kit, so he can kill. And then this is like with even more. So Petra, Gaunts can rack up a lot of damage. Orb's consistent at killing. Or Orb can rack up a lot of damage and use it to space. Gauntlets can do the same thing almost, right? And what this leads to is really like characters that are just never bad, okay? Some characters I don't think will ever be bad. Thor, just because he's just good at everything. Mordex will never be bad. Azuri will never be that bad. Bodvar will never be bad. Hattori, all because their weapons and SIGs work so well together. Also, if you're not subbed, if you're here in the video and you're not subscribed to me, right, please make sure to sub. Oh, let me fight. Please make sure to sub. I'm trying to hit 25k by my birthday. It's pretty unrealistic now. I need 7k in 2 months. But, you know, if anyone's going to help, it's going to be everyone watching the video. So, you know, we're going for 20k. Hopefully I can hit 20k. Oh. Okay, look at this. We're getting the he's getting the hits in with the Gaunts. I'm really feeling this new character. I think one of the best character ball I've ever added. Unique SIGs, unique design. Really cool looking SIGs. And they feel really good to use. SIG true combo. I'm pretty sure D-Light and SIG's true, like if you land it perfectly. Oh, I'm in love with that SIG, honestly. I think the fact it spikes makes it so good. Side sig, no. Oh, D-Light there. That was smart because you couldn't land the X, the wall was there. But yeah, I think genuinely it's just all about... There we go. I think it's all about the way your SIGs convert into your moves and the way you... Let's just hold that D6. And the way a character... weapons work together. So, I think example of a character which is just missing like 1 or 2 things is Jiro. I think Sword and Scythe go quite well together, right? Nothing wrong with that. I think pretty decent weapon comp. I think they work quite well together. Complement each other. If you're getting reads, stay on scythe. If you're not getting any reads and you want to be consistent, go on sword. There we go, we landed it. Oh, he died from that, oh my god. But then he has bad stats for his weapons, right? Not good stats for his weapons. Dex really doesn't matter on sword or scythe. You get like one true combo, which is barely usable. But then he has speed. But then you want, on a weapon like scythe and sword, you really want, or scythe at least, you really want the damage stat. And a weapon like sword, it would be nice to have defense. You know, he has got the speed, which is good for scythe and sword. You know, every speed is never a bad stat, right? I think speed is across all weapons very good to have. Oh, good get from him, good get from him. But you know, it would be nice to get defense and attack. And then a character which is just perfect is like more dex, right? You don't need dex on gaunts or scythe, and he has very low dex. You want high speed, very high speed, because he's got string weapons, so you want to chase people, right? You want, obviously, you want enough defense, right? But you want the high damage, because if you get those hits with your string weapons, you want it to really pack a punch. He has all of that. Oh, oh, here we go. And like, even like Barraza, right? Blasters can rack up the damage, keep them away, and then when you need to find the kill, you switch to axe. And then his stats really complement his two weapons. He's very heavy, right? Very heavy weapons, and he's got a lot of defense, so he can risk to throw out those moves, because then when he gets punished, they'll do less damage. There we go. GG, well played. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I'm trying to get more videos out. You know, I've been less on it, but I'm going to get more on it. Coming up to the end of school. So fingers crossed that after that I can get straight on it with streaming again. Make sure to sub, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.